First, we start by clarifying the terms in a question so we can understand it better. So what exactly does intended use mean? And what does outward appearance refer to? Intended use is like whether a building is useful, safe, or accessible or not. And outward appearance, we can understand it as exterior design, a building's visual appeal, its attractiveness. So now we have a clearer question. When designing a building, should we focus on how well it works first instead of how good it looks? Now, there are two valid approaches to this. If you agree with the statement, you need to argue functionality is so crucial and should always come first. And then, appearance matters less and cannot replace proper function. You can choose whatever approach or structure you want for your essay. Now, I'll help you develop your arguments. So how do we argue that functionality is more important? It's easy and common for students to write something like this. They talk about the benefits of functionality, but this kind of reasoning isn't deep enough. You need to ask the next level question. What would happen if functionality was ignored? And make it serious. Now the real ideas begin to surface. Without the functionality, the building fails to serve its purpose. Students fail to learn, patients aren't treated properly. A poorly functioning building can even cause harm. Dangerous layouts, confusing navigation, lack of ventilation. These downsides are what highlight the necessity of functionality. Here's how the paragraph might sound like. You can see how I mentioned the consequences of not having a suitable layout or functionality. Now, how do we argue that appearance doesn't matter as much? We can't just say function is good and beauty is not. That's not enough. We have to show that even beautiful buildings are ineffective if they don't serve people. You need to mention that even some beautiful structures like a beautiful opera house, if it's poorly ventilated, it can cause deter visitors from returning, and you can use that point to prove that design should always serve the building's intended purpose first. Now, if you want to take the second approach, where both functionality and appearance matter, the key is to identify context. You need to ask, when does function matter more, and when does appearance carry more weight? Hospitals, schools, office buildings depend more on function. Art exhibits, museums, and cultural landmarks often require strong visual identity to succeed. So if you want to argue that design is just as important, don't fall into the trap of saying design is good because it attracts people. Just because appearance is good doesn't mean it's important. You need to ask, what happens if design is ignored? That's where your argument deepens. An attractive building may fail to attract visitors at all. It doesn't even get a chance to serve its users. Appeal might reduce public engagement, cultural reputation, and even tourism income. So here's how we can phrase that argument. You can see how I mentioned the types of buildings that would rely heavily on exterior design, like museums, cultural centers. And I talk about the benefits of a beautiful design. And I would mention the consequences of if a building appears outdated. I do this because I want to highlight how important it is to have a well-designed exterior.